Hi guys, welcome to the comms team meeting. This is being recorded and it's not being shared publicly, just so you guys know. If someone wants to see it, they can get a private link. It is saved on YouTube, but it's privately stashed away. I'm only saying that because there's some people in the past who had feelings about that. Did you guys get the agenda?
Yes.
Yeah.
So some of it's a bit of a copy paste from the last meeting where Wink and I just kind of connected a little bit. I wanted to go over just some items that not only affect our group, but the other team that's meeting that has a couple of things on the table. And I wanted to see how you guys how it was with you guys too being involved on some level. Let's see. So we talked briefly about the previous action items were with the 2019 listing on there, and we'll talk about that in just a minute more. Last week, Wink and I just met for a little bit. Did you want to cover anything from that, Wink, or do you want to just kind of roll into it?
I think everything we talked about got into the agenda, so yeah.
Cool. All right. So just to give you guys a bit of an update of stuff that I'm working on, hold on. I think I had that in the wrong place. The other team, the event, what's been called the events team, is also working on creating an entity for Queer Burners, which will eventually evolve into a board, which will involve, articles of incorporation, and also a big thing that we're all very much on is, conduct and, community conduct and consent culture and all that stuff, which would be worded into that going forward, because I think it's really important for all of us to have that kind of a structure, even if, because we run into issues even in this community too. I am trying to actively recruit more people, and even people to this group. I posted today just to reach out to people telling I need, more people for this team, editor, writer, for content. And then some of that stuff will kind of float over to us anyways when it comes to publishing on, social media, internet. It'd be nice if there was a better mechanism for, Wink got caught something that I just completely blinked out on, Queer Burner instead of Queer Burners. You know what I mean? So little things that I might take for granted in context. It's great if there's other eyes on these things or another voice. Most of Queer Burners' time has been my voice, but the best postings have come from other people. You know what I mean? That have added to this. So
Yeah.
I think that's got to be part of this at some point. Right now, we're really focused on specific items, and we have our specific areas right now. But I'm curious to see how that evolves going in the future, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on too. So if we're okay with moving on, we'll just jump into Joel.
Okay.
Not literally.
Why not? Let me see if I can share my screen. I'll show you a couple. Let's try this one. Oh, you have to enable screen sharing, I think.
I have to enable it? Okay, I got to figure out how to do that.
I don't know what that means.
Down in the middle where this, I think Scott on the share screen.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think that worked.
It did.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see, how did I do this before? Oh, wait a minute. This happened last time too. Did I change computers in the last 2 weeks?
You're in a different place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that
Oh,
your real background
that's
or is that a fake
yeah,
one?
yeah. Is it? It's so nice. It looks virtual.
It's real.
Yes.
It's real. Share screen. Okay, now it's working. Okay, good. All right. So hopefully that looks decent. And you've all seen this. I've imported, I imported the raw data from 2019. And then I actually went through manually and tried to get short descriptions of each camp and pictures from their website or their Facebook page or public sources on the internet if I had to. I'm not logged in right now. So I decided rather than having a whole login mechanism that I would try to see how long I could get away with just letting people log on with Google. That becomes very easy for users because you just click there, you pick your account, it logs you in, boop, and you never have to think about it, assuming you've given Google permission. And if they do that, we get your email address. We get a unique number we can use to make sure it's you if you come back, even if you change your email address with Google. So I've actually now, on this screen, I've now flipped into administrator mode. And you can tell because at the bottom of every camp name, I've got my own edit button, and that's just because I'm listed as an administrator. And I got the private information of who actually submitted this camp is down at the bottom on each one. And that's really the only difference of being in administrator mode. I can pick anyone's camp and edit it. Pick Paradise Motel, for example. A couple other things to see here. This you've probably all seen. There's a bunch of little fun details in here, like if these people are 8 o'clock in D. If you say that you're going to be on D, then you have to be, the intersection has to be a clock. And if you say that you're going to be on a clock, then the intersection has to be a letter. That's just like little bits of logic in there to minimize things going wrong. Here's the picture. You can change pictures as many times as you want. This is them actually. I don't know if I have another picture of them, but you can delete it. When you go to browse it, this is just I made a little folder with all the camp pictures I could find. You can upload, and you'll see a little thumbnail, and then that gets uploaded like that. Scott, I added this new feature. Let's actually try some of these. You can turn on some or all meals, etc. If you are open to new members, you can put an application form in here with the URL. I'll leave that off for now.
Wow.
And then that gets submitted, and here's the camp. And the change you can see here is these little icons down at the bottom.
Oh my God, that's so awesome.
This is still, it's still a little bit of a mess with the Facebook and the Globe and the whatever and the Twitter. I haven't figured that out yet. So like, here's what it looks like if you have Facebook and Instagram and a URL. I'm going to clean that all up. I'll find some good graphical treatment so it looks good. Another new feature is when you click on it, you get the full-size image that you uploaded. I'm going to try to encourage people to upload large, high-resolution pictures. I don't really care how big they are. I took for testing, I took some 50 megabyte, super high-res raw pictures. And it works fine. And then in order to make this page load fast, I generate little thumbnails on the server. So these are all 960 pixel wide thumbnails generated on the server. But you could upload kind of as big an image as you want, and then that's what you get there when you click on it. No, so this is the current homepage. Here's sort of an example. This is going to take a long time to load because this person put in a 50 meg. I put in a 50 meg picture here, just as a test. So one more recent feature, the filter. We've got the old camp identities. I added East Village and West Village. East Village being our word for 430 sector, and West Village is 730 sector, and I just defined it by the placements borders. Just another, hopefully we'll start to get people to use those terms, or think in those terms.
So can I just a quick question regarding that?
Yeah.
So they don't have to choose East Village or West Village because sometimes they're not in those areas.
Well, then they won't show up in the filter. Like they just put in their address.
Okay.
They like the camp owner doesn't even know that we've assigned them to East Village or West Village. That's just a thing that shows up when they based on the addresses that they put in. And we're placement is very particular about the order of the radial in the street, apparently. And so we don't just describe it as an intersection. We ask them to put in the frontage street and the cross street.
Yeah.
And the frontage always goes first. And there's these funny rules. One of these is on Rods Road, I think. Like Rods, they have a funny rule that if you're on Rods Road, here it is, here's one. You use a at instead of a ampersand. Because you're not actually crossing 530. You're just at the 530 if Rods Road itself was a clock. I'm sorry, I'm sure that was very boring, but I worked on it.
Perfect.
Okay, so the search is just as you type. So turtles like immediately find things just by typing. It just starts to filter down as you type. If you type one letter, it's the camps that start with that letter. C, we don't know any C, D, E, F, G. If you type more than one letter, it's a real search. Like ERT will find turtles.
Great.
So that's the only, that's sort of a quick navigation because we got like 60 or 70 camps on here. That's about it. Oh, one other thing I guess I could show you. I don't know how well this will look since I'm sharing my screen, but if you go super narrow with the screen, I have no idea what this is looking like. But this is what it's going to look like on a phone, basically. Everything will shrink down to a single column. Everything still works. The menu at the top becomes a little menu here. So it doesn't take up as much screen width. It's all tested on a phone. You can submit a camp on a phone, and everything is just sort of rearranged so that you can fit everything in when you go to submit a camp. The last thing, I don't know if this is obvious. I'm logged on as an administrator right now, which means I have an edit button on every single camp. But let me just log out with. I'm not going to be able to log out the account. If you're logged out, and you hit the submit button, you get some text here saying you got to log on to submit. I need to know who you are. And we can tweak what the text is. And then you go and you log in. And what you'll see, imagine that you're not me, imagine that you're you, for example. Having submitted a camp, just call this test camp. This might actually show up. I hit submit. The only thing that's required is the name. Yeah, this showed up right here. You can see it over here. Now, since I submitted this camp myself, I always get this little thing that says, this is your camp, you can edit it. And I can go in and I can change the picture, I can provide a picture, I can change the text, submit it. So basically, if we can just get people to log on at the beginning when they make their camp, all they got to do is log on with the same Google account and they'll be able to edit their camp. And even if they can't, they can always contact one of us, and I'll just put our email addresses into the code as the administrators. So whoever wants to be the answer the emails to info@careerburners or whatever it is. You can always go in and fix something that somebody broke, or worst case scenario, just tell them to resubmit their camp, and then we delete it, and then the one that they resubmitted, they will have full ownership of.
Okay. So the names of the camps, are they like from an existing, like do they take from the previous years and they can select?
Yeah, I haven't, that's still on my to-do list because I figure I've gotten to another year or so to worry about that. But my theory is what I'll do is when you go to hit submit, well, a couple of things will happen. One is if you're logged on right now, whether you're logged on or not, you're just seeing the whole camp directory in alphabetical order. I think if you're logged on and you actually own a camp, I'm going to put that at the top. I'm going to say, this is your camp. And then if you own a camp from 2019 and it's 2021, you'll see a button that's like, click here to update your data for 2021. And then we'll just sort of suck in all the data. There's ways that people could, there's the potential of shenanigans here. Somebody has decided that they don't like Paradise Motel, so they make Paradise Motel, only they spell it with a capital I instead of a lowercase L. And you can't see, but they put some, and now there are two camps there, and one of them's real and one of them's fake, just using another name. And it's just, we're just going to have to sort that out as admins.
What about a report button? Like,
We could have a report button, or we could just have like a single, like, contact us. I didn't notice, do you have like an email or a contact?
well,
Yeah, you have an email.
info at Queer Burners, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we'll just send it to there. That's probably the easiest. A couple more things that I haven't done yet, which I was thinking of doing. Just like final finishes. One is we can give you a landing page when you submit a camp, just to remind you to join the QBLN if you're not already in that group, just for people that somehow find this page and not been involved and we haven't been in contact with any other way.
Yeah.
So that can sort of be a landing page can kind of make sure that they're following us in all the other formats at the time they do that. That was one of my, there's a couple other things I haven't quite figured out. One thing I think we really do have to decide right now is what the list of identifications should be. And I just took this from your 2019 form, but
Oh, the identifications?
yeah, sort of what the options are there. And I think the only thing we're missing is like a camp that is sort of defines themselves as mixed, i.e. they have a large queer contingent, but that's not really what they're about, or who they're about.
Well, I mean, it might sound kind of on the binary side, but there's this. This is my opinion, but there's a lot of camps that will just choose mixed because they want to play some political game they think they're doing right with Burning Man. Whereas I think with this list, it kind of asks them to pick a team and stop trying to hide in the middle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, hold on.
I mean, I'm open to dissent in that, but
I would agree with that idea that the site is Queer Burners. So if you don't want to identify as queer, then you identify as an ally. And that's
exactly.
Fair enough. I mean, to have mixed is sort of like, are you mixed and an ally? Or if you're mixed, do you not? I mean, it just seems like, I think having the list short also just makes it easy for everybody too. So
yeah.
I think absolutely agree.
Yeah. Anyone who's mixed should fall into ally. That just seems, if you're not predominantly queer and one of the queer categories, then you're predominantly an ally. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can also, if you, at any point, if we want to change sort of the instructions for participating, that's at the top here, to just kind of give people some guidance on, should I include myself? Does ally, like everybody wants to be an ally? Does that mean we're going to have 1,000 camps there that we have to leave those turned off by default from the directory because it sort of loses some meaning? I think we have, in previous years, it looks like we have a lot of the clearly ally camps that are sort of known from the, the 730 camps that are,
yes, I know.
But there will be a tendency for everybody to want to just put themselves on every list, and so so that's okay.
Oh wait, you can pick more than one?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean there's a tendency for a camp that's just like, I don't know, what's a good example? The culture. What's the one with the costumes? Costume cult. Like there's nothing gay about that except that they're about half gay, and they'll be like, sure, I want to be on this list too. And that's even better. And you just sort of get camps that actually are not really allies anyway, but just want to be on a list.
Yeah.
Well, on this, when you're filling it out, identification could be predominant identification or primary identification. So that right here, it acknowledges you're not taking care of everything. But for simple sorting, it's like you're main identification, or yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I'm happy to say like primary
Okay.
identification. Okay, so that was really only the one thing that that I sort of wanted some policy direction under. I think what will happen in the next few days is I'll take out this junk 2020 I've just been using for all my test data, but I'll make it so that when you land here, you're actually looking at the 2019 data. And when you're submitting, I think you're, I'm not really sure, I think you're submitting for 2019 for a while. And actually what will happen right now, if somebody comes to us, let's look at 2019. If, I'm not, oh yeah, I'm an admin. You know, if somebody comes to us, I don't know what VerCamp is. I don't think that's.
Yeah, I know them.
Okay, so if this person, Neon Bunny, with this email address actually logs onto the site, they will be able to edit this already at their 29 entry. And if they want to go like tweak their URL or add a picture or update anything that I provided for them, they can do that. So it's already set up so that as long as people have a Google account that has the same email address, which is probably going to cover a lot of cases, not all of them, but like at least half of them. We don't have to do anything to kind of give them ownership of their camp so that they can start editing it themselves.
Oh.
And then you know, when people start to form their camp plans around January time, I'm guessing for 2021, we'll address it. We'll address how to update that.
Oh, here's another one for maybe your wish list, something to think about. When someone submits, can we just get a notification at info?
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to email. Maybe the admin list. Just say there's new submissions, just so people can kind of look over them and see what they are, and make sure that they're sane. There is always the risk. It's a public website. Anybody can upload an image, but that may be a close the barn door after the horse escapes. kind of policy on that.
No, well, people actually have been pretty good about anything they've done on here. I mean, the only thing that's a problem is, you know, those spam accounts, you know, they're selling erectile dysfunction drugs or,
right.
You know, that sort of thing. The website itself gets hit with, you know, 20 to 30 a month of those kinds of, you know, things. So yeah.
So usually, well, I'll definitely keep an eye out for that and take them down as they occur. You know, I may have to add like a CAPTCHA of some sort to the submit form, or I may make the submit form and do a little sniffing if it doesn't get something sensible that makes sense. It may have to hold the submission for approval. But I'm hoping it doesn't come to that because this is very easy from an administrative point of view, which is part of my goal.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything suspicious, maybe hold it for review or something like that. You know. So it sounds like that this isn't going to integrate directly with the website. It's going to be a feature that takes you away from it. Is that right?
Yeah. So my hope was, like, I still have, like, I put the link in the top corner. We'll just go back to Queer Burners. And then I can integrate actually as much or as little of like the navigation on the main site. You know, I'll just put that, you know, down here and vice versa, basically.
Where?
Well, it can be across the, like, we've got the whole nav bar up the top. I can put links to the rest of Queer Burners.
I got you.
Or to anything else that we want to, you know, go directly to. And then I think people won't quite notice, like, if they come here and they see the directory, I guess over here on the right-hand side would probably be where we link to it.
Okay.
So there's basically this kind of a link from here that takes you off to the directory. I'll tweak the favicons and so forth so it all looks the same. I tried to use the same image, but it came out a different.
Well, so the image is background, and then the overlay is just it's a transparent graphic
I see.
that sits on top of it,
I got it.
which you can have easily. I can easily give to you too.
Yeah, if you want, I can stick this overlay on top of it. The only reason I didn't is it looks like that's sort of the one that's the time, that's where you're changing it every year or whatever, putting on new stickers. But that it's no big deal to add that on top of this if you want. Yeah, and then you know, as many or as few links as we need, we could put the, you know, some of the what do we have? I was just looking to see if there's contact info or privacy policy or anything that I wanted that I could also link to. For me to put it, it could theoretically, I mean, the alternative is just that we try to make the URL look like this. So it's at Career Burners instead of Career Burners directory. And that, it's just sort of a deployment headache because the technology stack is very different. You know, it's possible to put it on there, but all it really buys us is that people will notice that the URL isn't changing. By the way, 100% of my code is up here on GitHub right now, and I've got a whole long explanation for a web developer that comes along later, wants to modify it, of just describe sort of what are all the tools, where is everything, where do you find things, how do you make things work, how do you change things, how do you deploy them when they change, is all documented in here.
Okay, that's cool.
It would seem as long as the graphics, like, people probably are not looking at the URL.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, when you go back and forth, it's like, okay, I went someplace else, but that's just the graphics. You probably will never even look at the URL while you're surfing, you know, within the broad category of the site. And as long as it's linking back and forth, it seems like you'll know that. Yeah. But I would imagine, and more tech savvy people might always be looking in the URL, but I think just for somebody just looking for a camp, they're probably focused into the window and not the address bar. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it becomes really noticeable when it's missing the site identifier and the
right.
Yeah. Okay. And then what was the last? Yeah, I didn't realize that was just a transparent image on top. That would be very easy to adjust. The other thing I haven't really thought of, this is something I'll wait till next year probably and start hearing camp owners. You know, I was sort of thinking this whole expansion where we expand the picture, this would be sort of my next area for improvement, which is, you know, maybe let people upload a lot more information about their camp so that a smaller camp that doesn't even maintain a website could actually use this as their only online presence for a minute or two, where they upload, you know, 5 or 10 pictures. They have a long explanation of what they're all about, maybe list their events on there or something. But I think most camps that do have a Facebook group or a URL, you know, they kind of want you to just click on that and go to there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering, because even if somebody's verbose
mm-hmm.
and they have a website, you know, would it make sense to just get to a ... and more, like, you know, to have it more image focused as the directory? And if you want to read someone's too long didn't read, you just click to get.
Yeah.
And maybe that is the pop-up, you know, maybe this.
Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
I mean, the other side of that is, like, you know, if I understood you correctly, Wink, I want to make sure. By just going here, if I just want to look for people that are accepting new burners, and I could see that unicorn, which we kind of need some kind of directory of what those symbols mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just the mouse over explains it.
Yeah.
Well, the mouse over does, but if we had a directory running across the top that just said what each one stood for, then someone could just scroll through and say, "Oh, I'm looking for unicorns."
Yeah.
Or I don't want to pay a camp fee, cheap bitches, you know.
Yeah. I've sort of, I didn't, some of those, we can always add those to the filter. I'm sort of hesitant to add things to the filter that are apt to compress the list too little, because I like the serendipity of asking people to just browse the list. There's 69 things on there, you know, you just browse.
I like
the search. Like, it's the sort of like, you got here and you haven't even browsed to see what's there, and you're already saying, I don't know any camps that wouldn't accept me, or that charge a camp fee or something like that. I'd kind of rather, yeah, and you know, although we can ask for good data, we're not always going to get the most reliable data from the camp owners at these things. They may have left it out. There's an awful lot of variety in what a mule may mean, and so I'd rather not exclude showing people camps if we don't have too many.
Well, and I think people are likely to wonder, even like, what is the, you know, what do those things mean? So I think the mouse over pretty quickly, you know, will give people the explanations rather than putting it somewhere else and then having a mouse over. It just seems, but one of my thoughts is, so Joe, currently, is there any character limit to what I enter here?
Yeah, so it's limited to about 255, which is what, like, some of these are right at the limit. And so,
okay.
And so that's kind of what you're seeing to keep the cards a reasonable size. Let me pick one. Yeah, it says max 255 characters. And if I go too high and try to submit, it'll, oop. Ah, okay, I guess it wasn't. Never mind. I thought I was at the limit. I'm very tempted to add another. Like, I don't want to make us feel like a huge burden for the TCO who's filling it out.
Well, does it tell you what the character? Where did it tell you what the character limit was?
Yeah, it was telling you in there. It was, well, when you come to the blank one, it says max 255.
Oh, okay, okay.
And if I overdid it, I would get an error message, and then it would have a count. So if you put in 1,000 messages, it would actually be showing you the count as you deleted things. So you try to delete it to get it down there.
Got it.
But basically, sort of two other features that might be fun, and it just depends really on whether we think the TCOs would spend the time. Is one is like more pictures. Let people have a little gallery if they want to. So a lot of people have a frontage picture and a picture of their campmates, and maybe a picture of their art car or something. And then a longer about, where it's like, you know, more details about your camp. And again, it's optional, and then that would just show up when you actually drill down on here. And we could even give you a little URL for that, like, so you have your own URL at Queer Burners Directory. It would be like Queer Burners Directory /2020/Future Turtles. That would go straight here. And so if you wanted to use that as your public URL because you don't have one, then that may be an option. All right. Well, anyway, that's
this is awesome.
I think that's all I got. What else have I done recently? Yeah.
Well, I see your list here that you got some stuff that you want to do that was added to the agenda. So it sounds like you're working on it little by little. And I mean, it looks great. I mean, cool. I think Wink agrees. Do you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Thanks.
Congratulations on getting that far. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are we at a point where I can share this link just so I could show people what's happening out there? Because someone's also going to try and submit too. You just know it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just tell them the 2020 data is just junk test data. So feel free to submit. What I was thinking of doing, actually, if you want to give me a day or two, I'll set it up so that you're looking at these camps and it still says 2019, and submit, we'll actually submit you for 2019, and we'll just kind of keep an eye on the new submissions as they come in to make sure.
I mean, so if I just post the link for the 2019 camps and say, hey, look what we're working on that's going down into the future.
Yeah, that's fine. If they hit, you know what, just leave it. It's fine the way it is. When you hit submit right now, it always goes to the current calendar year. My theory was If it's January, you're probably submitting a camp for August. If it's August, you're submitting a camp for August. If it's September, you're probably just editing something that you're like, you got a different address, or you want to make sure you recruit people for next year. You want to fix up your picture because you got a nice picture. And, if it's December, maybe you're recruiting, but you're still sort of thinking more. So I just made it calendar based, meaning, at if you're submitting a fresh camp, it's for this calendar year. I might just make this 2021 or something and just make 2020 be the exception. But
Well, can they just choose a year and submit?
it's just what?
So if they want, so
when you
maybe
submit.
they want, so, oh, we missed out on this 2019. Let me submit that. But oh, wait a minute, we're going to
Yeah.
participate in the multiverse this year, so I want to submit that.
Yeah. For a blank, well, I guess we could.
I'm not
That's what I would
asking
want
you
to
to
do.
take all this on like right now. I'm just posing those
Yeah.
questions.
Just tell them to submit it, and I'll fix it in the database. Yeah, it's just like, just get it in there. Let's. I don't think a lot of people are going to be. Maybe we should do a round of like, hey, if you were in last year's directory, go check your entry. Just let you know what's going on. Try editing it, and so forth. So let's get the 2019 solid, and we can nail that down, and then we'll move on.
I think Wink was trying to say something. I'm sorry.
I'm just, in terms of 2020 and multiverse, I don't have a real sense of what participation might be, and in our emails with sort of the question of does 2020 evaporate? Do we acknowledge it? Do we jump to 2021? I mean, I don't have an answer, and I guess opening this up may answer the question, because we might hear from people, oh, we are going to be doing multiverse 2020 and people might ask for it to be live. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's what we should do. I'm willing to snap to attention if there are people the last time I was speaking to Sam Goldman, who said there is no official multiverse online org sponsored.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Event. Which I think it sounded like they really thought they were going to do it, and then they realized that it could be really terrible and that would be even worse. And that there are a lot of people doing kind of little independent things, and they don't know what will come of them. And I think they'd probably rather none of those be official and just see if anything good comes out that they can later take credit for.
I saw the same thing. They got some really terrible feedback from a lot of people. So,
it's weird. I thought, I don't know. I'm late. My first year was 2018 at Burning Man, but it felt a little bit weird for the org to be saying to people, there were an awful lot of people from Silicon Valley that were building the internet from 1996, 95 thereabouts until today. That's what they've been doing, and they go to Burning Man in the summer, and then their day job is to make the internet and creating. A lot of them are creating online social networks and online interactivity and things that sound like the multiverse a little bit, only, maybe they made GeoCities or Meetup. My friend Scott Heiferman made a startup called Meetup.com based on, he went to Burning Man in 2002 and thought that was a great idea to get people together in real life. And then to have the org suddenly say, oh, we're not allowed to have Burning Man in Black Rock City this year. So we're going to invent a whole new online way of being. It's like there's a lot of people in this community that have been doing that as their job for 25 years now. Count myself in that category of trying to make something, online that's meaningful. And for them to sort of say, oh yeah, I guess that's where we're going next. And we're going to do better than y'all have been in the last 20 years of trying to do something.
Yeah.
But I think that's also just, when things have happened with coronavirus, it's usually one of the first reactions is just sort of a panic. Like,
yeah,
what do I do now?
Yeah.
And so for their first reaction to be, well, we've done all our meetings on Zoom, like, how can we, so it just seems like it's a progression, but then you get into it and you go, God, this is never gonna, we can't happen. It's not happening. So, and I think when they were initially asking, I was just, at that point, enough things had happened to make it clear that, because I think ALC got canceled first, and that it was just like, it's a real thing. Like, we don't need a digital, there's no substitute for it.
Right, right.
So like attempting it is just going to be disappointing. So
yeah, I felt the same way. I mean, there are people doing things online. There's one, like I play the game Minecraft, and there's a group of people somewhere that have made a Minecraft map where anybody can come and build like art in Minecraft, and the whole thing is just designed to look like Black Rock City. It's the same. They got the same dimensions. It's just a giant desert. And the first thing you see is just this huge part. I think you wake up in D-Lot, and it's just this huge parking lot of trucks and cars. You gotta fight through that, and then you gotta walk to Black Rock City, which is like 5 minutes of walking in Minecraft, because it's the actual speed that if you were to imagine, or it's probably more than that, like whatever it takes to walk from D-Lot.
It's a long distance, yeah.
Yeah, and they got all the dimensions right, and there's some cool Minecraft art there, and it's not uncool. It's very lonely. It's very quiet. You're just walking around in an empty spot. So there's sort of a problem with a lot of the online experiences that makes them, super fun for 25 minutes and maybe fun for a small number of people that really, get into the building or something. But it's going to be hard for them. But anyway, if there's anything, I'm good. As you can tell, I'm sort of tapering off. I've got a few little, final things to nail down, and I'm always available. I don't have a day job, so I'm always available to fix things real quick or change things real quick if people need them or ask for them. But yeah.
Right on. Oh, this is great. I'm really appreciate you putting the effort into this. Any questions or?
I did have one. So for someone to edit, they will edit via their Gmail account.
Yeah.
Okay.
It basically, do you have a camp on here? You could probably try it if you had a submitted a camp before. It's wink@tinklemink.org. So if your Gmail account has that email associated with it, you can already.
But then wait, that's not Gmail though. That was my.
That was your contact email that you submitted. So I think your Gmail account's actually a different one.
Yeah, I have a bunch. So. So I'm just curious because I can't be the only one that has multiple Gmail accounts.
Right.
And the camp has an account. I have a business account. So I'm just.
Well, you can log on with whichever Gmail account you want to log on with.
And so any Gmail account is going to let me edit Tickled Mink?
No. Any Gmail account, every Gmail account has an email address associated with it. It may be a Gmail email address,
right?
Or it could be another email address. Like if your only email is like, mike@geocities.com or something, AOL.com, you can still make a Google account. It's really a Google account. You can make a Google account and just say, I'm mike@AOL.com, and that's fine. And then you log on to Google with mike@AOL.com. And then you'll log on to our site and you'll say which Google account you want to use. And you can choose any Google account you have access to, as long as it has the same email address.
I think a lot of people aren't aware of that option. It's just,
I think they're going to be, looking at the names that are on here, half of them are gmail.com already. Those will just work. And this year we'll probably have to, set some people's, probably have to adjust some people's email addresses so that they can get back in and edit their thing. And I can do that on the database. And in future years, this won't be a problem because we won't even let them submit without logging in with Google.
Okay.
So as long as I remember.
The camp email address that is associated with the site right now is an alias that goes to a Yahoo account. Okay. And my Gmail account also goes to that same Yahoo account. So like everything funnels towards this old Yahoo account.
Who does Google think you're logged in as when you log in with Google?
McRactor.
Okay, so not the same email address.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what does it say I am logged in as now?
I just want to caution you guys too.
Look
Don't
on
say
that, just
anything you
the-
don't want recorded too. Just, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So don't
sorry.
put your password.
Click on the, if you click on the top right corner where your name is when you're logged on to Career Burners directory, it'll show you what the email address is that it thinks you are.
Okay. Got it.
Um,
But is that address associated with our camp or not?
not now, but I can go change it. In
Okay, okay. So if you fix that, then I'm set.
Yeah. Actually, just send me what that is in the chat. That doesn't get
Okay.
recorded, and I'll do it as we speak.
Okay.
You can be my beta tester.
Now, I'm giving you the one that should, okay, got it.
Yeah.
And of course we have multiple domains. So I think this is right.
Well, just pick the one that, oh, yeah, that's what you got. Wait, you should tell me the one that when you go to Career Burners directory, you log on top right-hand corner.
Yeah, okay.
Tell me what that is showing you as logged on as right now. Okay, thank you. Okay, what I just did is I changed the secret name. Okay, so now you should already be able to edit your own camp. Did it work?
So would I reload the page or?
Yeah, you might have to reload.
Okay. It doesn't say anything about edit yet.
Huh. And you are logged on, huh?
Oh, let me try again.
I've actually never had this work. I just know that it's got to. So I'll be very excited if it doesn't, and I will.
No. So I did it once. I've got like 50 windows open, but the first time I hit login, the login window stayed on top, and now when I'm hitting it, it comes up and then disappears. I don't.
Oh, that's weird. All right. Well, let me get whenever we finish the rest of this call and we stop recording, you can share your screen and I'll fix it for you, and this won't be interesting to anybody else.
Yeah, but you want it to. Yeah.
I do want it to work, so I just don't. We don't need to record it.
Okay.
We don't need Scott.
I'm gonna put mine on there too because mine is
Okay.
I seem to get into mine either. So.
All right, Land of Monkey. Oh yeah,
This will be more of a thing than we know.
Submitted, but it's not. Okay. Okay. Okay, Scott, I've added you. I've updated that. So when you hit refresh.
So here's a question. So like Land of Monkey starting in 2020 has a new person in charge.
Yeah.
So when they submit next year, they just submit under theirs and it doesn't confuse anything, right? If they keep the same name.
Yeah, I think we'll have to, when the owner has changed, I think we'll have to do something.
All right, we'll work it out.
Yeah. Maybe we'll give the old owner the ability to change the owner or something.
So you are essentially the admin for the directory right now, is that right?
Yeah, I'm going to add you too. I'll add you both, and then all of you will be able to edit all counts.
And then, so if anybody has a problem, like maybe Wink and I just had, as
As one does.
it'll happen. If they have something just to report or submit a help request to info@queerburners,
Yeah.
I could set it up so the three of us get an email, or it goes into one place, or
Yeah. How often do you check that? I mean, you can either bounce it to me. I could keep an eye out on there as well.
right now info@queerburner just rolls into my Hotmail account.
Okay. Yeah. So just when you see anything that has to do with the site, just forward it to me and I'll take care of it.
Like Wink, I seem to have about 40 different emails and
Yeah.
a dozen different domains.
Doesn't everyone of a certain age have?
I've gotten it down to 3, I think 4. I don't know.
All right. So it sounds like we accomplished quite a bit here today. You still want me to give it a couple of days before I post about the directory?
No, you can post it. Go ahead and post it. It's
Okay.
fine.
And then as long as we have some kind of mechanism to be notified if someone's having a problem.
Yeah. I'll that's pretty high up on my list. It's just, what I might do is email. Well, I could email the 3 of us, just sort of a little summary saying a new campus appeared. I'm trying to think of how to do that in a way where it doesn't.
I don't think, Wink, you probably don't want that kind of noise coming into your inbox.
I'll take it. I'll take it all.
I mean, I'm open to it myself.
Okay.
If I can help, I will help.
Okay.
But I just knowing Wink like I do, I think he doesn't want
You
extra
need to hear
noise.
every change. Yeah. Okay.
And you're not committed to that, Wink, because you're part of this group. So don't. I want to make that clear. I don't want to.
But I think what you might be reacting to. So I made a change to Facebook last night, and I didn't realize that it would create a notification to everyone in Queer Burners.
Oh.
And but I was just sort of like that. That's the kind of thing that I like deleted that because that's noise. Like me getting noise is my thing. Yeah, but
I just want to
putting out noises.
I'm just trying to be mindful of your guys' needs through this process. And I really ask you guys to be upfront with me on things too. I'll just put this as a footnote here. I've worked with some people in the past who've held on to resentments for whatever reasons, minor or big. And then I get blasted in the face a year and a half later about how awful I was. And I'm like,
well, wait, you're trying to disappoint us a year from now?
no! I just want people to be upfront.
I get understood.
Yeah. Okay.
I take full responsibility. So.
Thank you, sir. Do you think we can just go ahead and move forward with some stuff?
Yeah.
All right. So just going down a little bit on item I, the future of the team. We talked a little bit about it earlier. What will this become? How involved will we be? I think you guys have pretty much, worked in a certain, block. And I don't know how far beyond that you guys want to get to. I did mention earlier that, I'm looking for a copy editor / writer. We're going to, when the board comes together, there's got to be a person that is the comms lead, that person who will, establish policy and procedure for, communication going out, at least a second pair of eyes. So when that comes into the place, it's either going to be one of us. I don't think it should be me, but that's going to be an issue in the future. And you guys don't have to give me an answer now, but I'm just saying I'm actively trying to see who's out there and wants to be part of it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be easy to find somebody that can do that. Just because but I feel like where the timing is a little weird. Like we're not even, if there was going to be a Burning Man in a couple of months, it would be easy to find somebody. If we were out there, we'd get 30 volunteers at Glam Talks in 10 minutes of people who this was their day job and they'd be delighted to do it. And I think a lot of the candidates are just not people that are really thinking about Burning Man. on
You're
the off year.
absolutely right. You're
So
absolutely right. There's a certain person that works on this shit year round.
yeah,
And it's a sick manifestation of our realities. But
yeah,
but there are people out there now with us getting ready to announce an event coming up in fall. If we can get all of our ducks in a row, we're right at the edge of getting that resolved. We're definitely going to need those people. And, I'm actually going back to a recommendation from Wink about, getting that kid that can pump those things out to Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. I don't know if that's, how much that's going to fall on your hands, Wink, versus, somebody that's just, posting out these reminders.
Well, I'm happy to do it now. And then if someone, wants to join the team, that's great. So, but I'm happy to do it now. So
we're just trotting forward into,
Yeah.
the future. So,
Yeah.
And then the logo, I changed the logo. I did kind of make a unilateral decision on that just because I've been trying to find some way to include persons of color, queer trans persons of color. So I use the progressive gay flag colors in the new logo, which you can see not only on the website, but in the notes as well. It's got a note about all of us 2021 in there. You can't see the 2021 here because it's white. This logo is designed to go on colorful backgrounds. So yeah. And then I also updated our catchphrase, building community and leadership together, instead of a community. It used to say a network of community and leadership. So this seemed to be more inclusive as well, a nice evolution in content. We are going to have an event that we're tentatively working on that I mentioned earlier from 10/9 to 10/12 at Groundswell. Right now we're looking at doing something with a limit of 50 people. If COVID-19 eases up, we can add another 50 people, but we have to be very mindful of all the requirements around it. So I just want you guys to be aware of this stuff too. All of Us 2021 is currently in its earliest stages. The thing about all of this so far, it's cisgendered white men that seem to be, engaged. So I have been actively reaching out to Gender Blender and Camp Beaverton specifically, and I'm going to keep reaching out to different groups like the aforementioned Glamcox, Comfort and Joy, and some other groups, so we can start getting volunteers. I have a volunteer submit form so they can get involved with Queer Burners on any level. I also posted that on the Queer Burners group earlier today. Just trying to get the word out. And a lot of people, they have their shields on now. They're not looking at Black Rock City 2020 right now. So, they're not necessarily tuning into that stuff.
Well, and I think that can also just sort of be a defense mechanism for everyone that's so sad that, or I mean, for all of us that was a big part of our lives, like losing that is,
Yeah. I absolutely agree. But I also feel that people are craving things right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I've seen Boz going out and holding little pop-up events,
right,
and just watching people swarm to that, from all corners. So you can tell people are really hungry for participation and the music and the camaraderie and the community. So, we're hoping to tap into that as well with the other team. The events team meets alternate weeks than we meet. Any of you are welcome to join part of that too, but right now we're really kind of focused on the entity creation. Burners Without Borders had a class last week, Business 101. Did either of you go to that?
No.
They just talked about how to create an entity. And it turns out that Matt from Land of Monkey knows the CPA that was part of that discussion. So they're going to have a talk, because Matt's also on the events team. And so they're meeting to see about, helping us get that moving forward with the entity creation. And they're talking about doing 501c3 for queer burners. It just turns out to work out. I'm still a little in my head in the clouds on those differences, but yeah. That was the determination. That was the best way to go. So that's what I got right now.
Okay, great.
Did you, well, we didn't really have any action items except for some tweaks that you were going to do, right?
Yep.
So, is directory. And then Scott is going to have people look at the 2019 to see what's coming and give people a chance to update, right?
Yeah.
In that announcement, I would just, make it clear that it's just, don't try and do the future.
Yeah.
Just make edits to 2019 if you want, as a test to help Joel out, like to be sure that it's working, but not to
And, and to represent your camp for future years as sort of the ongoing entity that is your camp.
Yeah.
If you've moved your Facebook page or something, or
yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, and also just so people don't start putting in a lot of stuff that while you're trying to work on it is,
that's what it's like to be a programmer.
Okay.
I'm gonna back up the database right now.
I mean, just from my experience, people have been really great with submitting stuff, and I've almost never had stuff submitted that was crap. I can't think of, I think a couple people accidentally double submitted, but that was about it. That people are generally pretty good. And then Wink, so a lot of the images for queer burners that are out there are confined to my private storage space. So I should probably just put them in the shared folder.
Okay.
And then if we want to start talking about a plan for social media, like putting stuff out, then you'll have access to whatever you need in that area.
Okay.
That includes a Vimeo link, which is you can find on the website now. The gallery section on the website has just been updated. So there's a lot there, including the video from 2017's All of Us. That was just so well produced. It is off the chart amazing.
Oh, cool.
And then there was another video from 2018, All of Us, that was a little bit more static, but also really well done. So there's stuff that's out there. And right now we're just really kind of slow because there isn't, as we talked earlier, there's not a lot going on. So, but we do want to start doing a press release on this new event in October soon. And I'll keep you guys on the loop on when that starts.
Cool.
But right now it's just these little tweaks. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I will. Thank you guys.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and end the recording, and then if there's things to be discussed, we can do that. Oops.
Oh yeah.
Wrong mouse. Hold on. Where is it? Come on, baby. Where are you? There you are.
Well, actually, I just want to get you guys to try to